I felt the weight of the world. I'm not a runner. I never have been. I started running so that I could manage my mental health, and then it turned into something else.
She just broke down crying.
And I was kind of actually surprised on how poor I was feeling.
You looked like you were drunk going down the road. What went through your mind before you went to sleep?
Man, I gotta do this again tomorrow. This is the long run. I'm Sachin Lakti, 48 years old, and I just ran over 3,700 kilometers across Canada, averaging 50 kilometers a day to raise awareness and funds for mental health. Along the way, we had thousands of conversations with Canadians, from first responders to everyday people, about what's really going on beneath the surface. This podcast isn't just about running, it's about resilience, purpose, and how we learn to keep moving forward in the long run. What's going on, team? Today we're doing episode 3 of the long run, and today we're going to be talking about day 1 of my run across Canada, which started June 16th from Victoria, BC. Lots in here. It's going to be some fun, a lot of honesty and ownership and transparency. So join us today on the long run.
Cool, man. So we're here. It took us 2 episodes to get in.
Yeah, man.
But this is Kickoff. The first 100K.
There's a lot. You know, it's funny, man, because like a lot of people, or not a lot of people, people who've been tracking me for the last few years see me as this ultra runner. And I've said it repeatedly on platforms like this, podcasts and media and whatnot, but also in person. I'm not a runner. I never have been. I started running so that I could manage my mental health, and then it turned into something else.
Yeah.
And so for me, that was a lot to start that first day of 100 kilometers.
I'm going to push back on that a little bit. Right?
Okay.
Because I've heard you say this a lot,
Okay.
maybe 1,000 times now, being like, hey, I'm not a runner. It's like you've demonstrated that you're a freaking runner, dude. Like you've, what else? How much more proof do you need to the world to be like, you're a runner? Because you are a runner.
Well, I guess it depends on how you frame it, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I frame it like I can run.
Yeah.
I can run for long periods of time. Doesn't make me a runner, right? So like, for example, okay, this is how I look at it. What makes someone a runner, quote unquote, identifies them with one thing, and that's all they do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that. Mm-hmm. If I decided to do something for a specific goal, that's what I did. So I'm not passionate about running. It's not something that I think about. It's not something that I love. I thought about it because I needed to get better for a specific reason, not for a race, not for personal fulfillment or anything like that. So for me, I don't look at myself as the quintessential runner, because many of the runners that I've met love it, and that's all they want to do, and they go through trails and races and all these different things. And the reason why I'm saying this is it's been a number of years of me doing those things and never really enjoying them.
So you're telling me that in 5 years, with all the ultra marathons that you've run, all the fundraising that you've done, it was like, before running, you were telling me, what was the stat? You'd done like 15,000 kilometers in like 5 years?
So let's, in 5 years, over 20,000.
Over 20,000 kilometers in 5 years.
Yeah.
You're telling me that you didn't enjoy any of it.
Well, we got to be more specific on what you're asking.
Yeah.
What I enjoyed was the outcomes of certain things that happened. What I enjoyed was the connections and the meeting of people. What I enjoyed was being of service in some way to raise some funds. The actual act of running and what was required to be able to do some of these runs, no, it didn't. I'd be lying to you if I said it did, man.
Yeah.
I am not the person who enjoys those things, but I value other things more, which precipitated me engaging in this way.
So is it fair to say then that the running essentially became a tool for you to then, what you goes back to your purpose, which is to maximize your skill set for other people. So the running essentially just became a tool to then be your best for other people. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think it became that. It for sure became a tool, but then it's become so much more in that it's given me also credibility. It's given me a platform. It's given me a voice in a certain way that I can, some people might pay attention a little bit.
Sure.
So I think it's given me that.
Yeah.
But again, going back to the main question, you don't like running? Well, I'm not a runner.
So speaking of you not liking to run, here we are in Victoria at the start of you running across the country, and it's your first 100K. So 16th June, we're kicking off at 6 in the morning. Walk me through what's going on. How did you sleep last night? How did you get ready to kick off at 6 a.m.?
I didn't sleep. Listen, man, it's like anybody else who's going into something that's extremely challenging. And a lot of time and effort went into not just days, but weeks, months, years. I felt the weight of the world, and I felt a lot of pressure. I felt a lot of stress. I felt a lot of anxiety. I felt overwhelmed. I felt all those things. And did I sleep well the night before? No.
How many hours do you sleep?
Man, I don't know,
before?
man. Like probably 4 hours or something. Not a lot. But that's, I think, kind of normal when you're entering into something very challenging and when a lot of eyes would be on you.
Yeah.
I suspected a lot of people would be paying attention. And, I have my own issues personally. I have, I don't, again, I'm not someone who thought I'd become a public figure or a public persona, but I am now to a certain degree. And so that brings attention that I might not have wanted in my life. So those are things that were going through my head and still continue to go through my head. So yeah, I was feeling a lot of that, but then I was also feeling something special was about to happen, and something big, something I was going to do that I had planned for. So to answer your question, how did I sleep? Didn't sleep much, but I expected that.
Yeah. And so I remember we picked you up at like 4:30 in the morning, just to get everybody ready, and we met at the Terry Fox Memorial. That was a really cool moment because for the first time we had everybody together. A couple of folks came in from Vancouver. Harjeet was there. It was really sweet of her to be there at kickoff. We had our partners, Amelia, Saiju. We had the folks from the Gurudwara who did a prayer. Walk me through that moment when the prayer started and what was going through your head.
So I grew up in a Sikh faith, and for those who might be familiar with that faith, it's a warrior saint kind of perspective of functioning through life. And have I been religious in my life? No. Pretty secular. But I felt it, for something like this, I wanted it. And so the priest, or I guess a priest you call him, I mean, that would be a Christian term, but he's Gyani, the preacher or the cleric from the temple. He came out with some friends that I have from Khalsa Aid Canada, which is a nonprofit that supports many people across Canada and really the world. And he came out and gave a prayer at the kickoff. And it was a prayer of, give strength, protection to everybody, not just me, but everyone, to make it a successful event, to help many people through the event. So it was kind of that kind of energy. And what was I feeling? I was emotional, man. As he was doing the prayer, I was looking around me, and I was looking at everyone who was there, and I was touched by it, because everyone there I love to this day still, and I mean every single person that was there. They didn't have to be there. They took time out of their lives to support something that I was doing, and support a cause that they all believed in. So that includes every single person that was there. I truly do believe that, and I mean it. So that's what I was feeling in that moment. I think I got emotional, And then the sun was out, and we got ready to go.
Yeah. I remember you went down those stairs to the ocean.
We're on mile 0 in Victoria on June 16th, 2025. And September 13th, we're going to be on the other side of Canada doing the exact same thing.
And kind of dipped your toe, and you had a little moment where you wanted to be left alone with Terry Fox. You said something to him. What was that? What did you say to him?
Yeah, I mean, for me, that spot is a historical spot, right?
Yeah.
In mile 0, where we're at the ocean, the Pacific Ocean. Terry Fox would have finished there had he made it across the country. And that's why the monument's there. And so for me, that's for me. And I never thought I was going to kind of outwardly share. But fundamentally what was said was like, hey man, I'm just walking in your footsteps. I'm standing on your shoulders. And without you, this idea would never have happened, just like it would never have happened for many other people who had done similar things. So it was gratitude, thankful that he did something to inspire other people. And hopefully I can do something that can inspire other people, even at a small 0.5% of what he did.
Yeah.
So that was the conversation.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that was a really powerful moment. And the sprinklers came on, which was our sign to get your asses on the road. So we just kicked off. It was...
Actually, sorry to interrupt. I also want to address one more piece because, as you said, the sprinklers, because I did walk up to the Terry Fox monument, the statue of Terry Fox, and I touched his feet.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's a cultural thing in the South Asian community, Indian community, where you go to a respected person and someone that you respect who's older, generally, and you bend over and touch their feet to get a blessing.
Yeah.
And it's a sign of respect. So for me, that's what I wanted to make sure I did before we did anything. Because, again, the respect of what he did and what he tried to do and how he impacted people. I wanted to get that blessing before I kicked off.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was a really, really cool moment. And we just, I guess it was not very dramatic. You just turned on your garment and you just kind of started.
Yeah.
And we had a bunch of people with us to kick off. We had Melissa from Balance Meal Prep, the company. You had the owner of Frontrunners. We had Skylar from Their Opportunity as well. And we just started. What was really cool about that start was the Victoria Police very graciously gave us an escort. Yep. How did that happen?
Yeah, I mean, I've been in contact with various different police departments over the last few years. And when I ran across the province in 2023, I was fortunate enough to connect with the chief of police at that time of Victoria. It was Dal Manick. I believe it's someone else. He's retired now. But he gave support at that time, gave escorts, and really brought about a team of people out to kind of receive me when I finished that run across the province. So when we were kicking off here, I engaged him again. He was like, yeah, more happy to help. And so he provided an escort to get us out of the city limits. Yeah. And so, it was extremely helpful because we were running on the road, man. And so having that support was cool. It's always amazing to have the support of first responders in that capacity. And that's how it kicked off. And it was cool to see. It's cool for me to reflect on it.
Yeah.
In the moment, it's cool, but it's a different feeling. I was kind of in the mode of like, okay, I gotta make sure I do this right. Thinking about work kind of. Whereas now I can reflect on it. I was like, man, that's pretty freaking cool, man. People showed up, people supported, and people ran with me for quite a bit.
Exactly.
I mean, I was with people for 35K. And then it kind of, people did their own things, but that's a lot, man.
Yeah. And when we started that first 35K, so we made our way through Victoria, one of the things I noticed was right from the get-go, there were a lot of conversations going, which I thought was really interesting, where we're starting off on this journey, and for the first couple of hours, it was just nonstop chatter. Yeah. Everybody's chatting with each other. You're chatting with them. They're chatting with you. What were some of those initial conversations going like?
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought this up. I think this is also, before I kind of answer the question, it's really a foreshadowing of what the run was going to be.
Yeah.
And I don't think at that time I recognized it. Those conversations were all really mental health and community and connection and movement and all of everything and anything related to that is what we were talking about. And I didn't realize then that that's what the run was going to turn into. And so in the moment, I was still thinking, oh, I'm running this thing. I'm doing this thing. I'm running 100K. I'm moving forward. Boom, 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 right? Not taking the moment to really understand what was actually happening, because for years I thought the run was going to be a certain way.
Exactly.
Without really keeping my mind open to what it could be.
Yeah.
And it took some time to get there. It probably took about a week.
Yeah.
To really kind of get to what the run should be. And then it took a few more weeks to refine it. But even at day one, it was the run, and everyone, the community was telling me what it should be.
Yeah, so coming to some of those conversations, we had Reid run with us. He's the founder of Front Runners. And what was amazing about that, he just showed up. Like, we didn't have any expectations. He just quietly showed up. And he had just come off a funeral to a friend that he just lost because of mental health. And he was also instrumental in getting that Terry Fox monument set up there. But what a cool guy. You and him had some conversations. Maybe we can talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, look, I had conversations with him, another guy, Ed, who was there.
Yeah.
And they're probably in around the same age. And the conversations were really encouraging conversations about, like, you got to do this. You got to make sure you continue one step ahead, in front of the other. These kind of conversations of encouragement, of making sure that the goal was continued and finished. So what that means to me, and what I took away from those conversations, was that the mission or the goal is to raise awareness and funds. So that's essentially what they were saying, is like, do the job, make sure it happens, get across the country, impact people. And they were referencing Terry Fox.
Yeah.
Because they were significantly impacted by Terry Fox when he kicked off, because they were of the same age.
Yeah.
And so what we were doing really resonated. And it resonated, I think, because we started in Victoria.
Yeah.
That never happened before.
Yeah.
Everyone starts out east and comes.
Yeah.
And so I think they felt compelled to show up because it's day one was in their town.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I took away from the conversation.
Amazing. So we have a bunch of people joining us at the start of the run. We make our way through the city, and we're getting on the highway towards the Malahat. Coming into like the first 15K, how were you feeling? Because you'd been essentially just like running on not a lot of sleep. What was going on? Was it a lot of adrenaline? Was it just like having fun?
Honestly, bro, I felt good. Like, my training was good. To be honest, reflecting back, I was probably going a bit too fast to start. And but I felt positive. Like, if the vibe felt good, the energy felt good, because everyone around me was positive and everyone was feeling good. So I was like, yeah, man, I'm having fun.
Yeah.
That's what I was feeling for sure for the first 15K. And then it eventually transitioned to, okay, let me think about the people who are with me and support them on their run. Because some of them were trying to run the furthest that they had ever ran before.
Yeah.
And so then it was transitioning into that kind of space. And then I was trying to balance, okay, that with, wait, I got to focus on what I'm doing and make sure that I can get to the end point. So it was like a bunch of different emotions happening throughout the entire day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that again was some of the seeds that were being planted to eventually that led to the pivot, which was, it wasn't just about you doing distance. It was also you engaging in conversations, supporting people who were pushing themselves the furthest they've ever done. And again, it was like in some sense, it was slowing us down in a way. And us as a crew, man, if I could do this all over again, we had way too many people on the first day.
Yeah.
And it's not anybody's fault. It's just that we just didn't know. We had Jared, me, Colum, Beatrice, Kat, you, 6 people for the first 2 or 3 days, which was just too much. If you're doing this by yourself and you want to run across the country, ideally, like not more than 3 people, more than sufficient. But while you were running, we were shooting content. We were trying to figure out how to navigate the RV through. Traffic management was a big one. And it was just figuring it out. It was like we had to put up stories. We were putting up stories by the minute, trying to get people updated as to like what's happening on the road. It was a lot of chaos. But what I remember feeling in that moment was everybody was just hyper focused on just doing the job, which I thought was encouraging. And that's essentially what kind of got us through the day. But I remember coming up the Malahat, it was like a lot of inclines, especially at that point. That's when people started to drop off, right? So we had Todd and Melissa. Todd came pick Melissa up. That was awesome. And then after that, Skylar from Their Opportunity was with us for a couple more Ks. Skylar was really great. And I remember he said that he pushed himself. This was the furthest he'd ever run.
Yeah. And look, he's an athlete, man.
Yeah.
He's a soccer coach.
Yeah.
He's a runner. Some of the conversations we had, he was like, I'm not sure if I can. I go, bro, man, you can probably do the whole thing. But he also had a flight to catch to get back to Toronto.
Flight to catch.
Because he's from Toronto.
Yeah.
Right? So he came up from Toronto. And, but yeah, I mean, he knocked it out of the park, man. He did great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
After Skylar left, it was just you.
Yep.
And I think it was 1:30 p.m. We stopped for lunch. Great view. And then it was just you.
Yeah.
So this was the first time on the run that you were just going to be by yourself. What was the next couple of hours like? And if I remember correctly, I think it was by 1:30 p.m. we had covered, I think like 25K or 30K.
No, I think it would have been more, no? I know Skylar did about at least 30, I think.
Yeah.
Right? And, but yeah, maybe it was. You would know better than me because it was an entire blur. Those first few days for me was a blur. But yeah, the rest of it, I was alone, which I'm kind of used to. That's what my training is. So it wasn't that foreign, but I was like, man, shit, I got like 65K to go. And we're going all uphill pretty much now. And so I didn't want to think about the end point. And this is something I dialed in after the first week or so. So I just wanted to stay in the moment as much as I could, because if I was thinking about, okay, the end of the day or finishing the 100 or any of that kind of sort of framework, I'd be screwed, man, personally, because I had 80 some odd more days to go.
Exactly.
So I didn't want to think tomorrow. I didn't want to think 2 days ahead. I didn't want to think a week ahead. I wanted to think in the moment, just keep moving. And that's where I feel I did okay, and how I was able to manage the stressors that I was feeling was just thinking about one step in front of the other and keep tackling, chunking things in certain smaller portions rather than thinking about the entire thing. And I had to do that the entire run, breaking things down in various different ways. Like weeks ahead, I had to do that. So I learned how to do that during training, but really this was a different animal, man, because it was like 80 something days that I had to think about. And so for me, if I was thinking day one, man, fuck, I got 80 more days of this, man, I'm screwed. I didn't want to get into that headspace.
Yeah.
So this was also not learning, but adapting in real time on how to properly navigate those feelings and emotions. And in that moment, I was just thinking, okay, let's just think about the next little bit here. I refined that even more. Eventually, when we're in, Ontario and various different places, I was just like, I'm just thinking day to day. What are we doing today? And that's it. Mm. And so that's kind of how I managed that first 100.
Yeah. As we were coming in towards evening, at this point, we had quite a few people who just started reaching out. I remember there was this one lady who was driving on the opposite side of the road, and she went down, took an exit, and came back and caught up to us. And actually kind of like, she didn't swerve us off the road, but she kind of did in a way. Mm-hmm. And she just started she just broke down crying. And I think that caught us all off guard. where she was like, I just saw what you guys are doing, what's going on, and you had a quick conversation with her. And it was the first time we had that, and I remember thinking like, holy crap, this is crazy. Somebody's going through this, just a random stranger on the road. And like that, we had a couple of other people that we met along the way. We had that owner of Tim Hortons. We had this lady who is a politician, like a local politician. I remember Kat just like hugged her for like a good 5 minutes. And all they wanted to do was talk. And it cost us time. It cost us about 2 hours that day. What are your thoughts on that?
Right now, what my thoughts are? I'll tell you what they are right now.
Okay.
No, but I think it's important. I feel bad we couldn't spend more time. I'm still talking about it. Because all of them were stopping for a reason, right?
Yeah.
And now that I have the mental bandwidth to really understand what was happening, I'm regretful that we couldn't spend more time with them. But having said that, that day I wasn't thinking that. I was thinking plugging away, so I didn't spend as much time as I would have wanted to. But moving forward, it did give us insight as to how we probably should be moving forward. Because in all honesty, I'm glad the run turned out the way it did. Because I probably would have so many regrets and feel shitty if we didn't stop and have conversations with people.
Yeah.
And so what I'm feeling right now is I feel a little bad that we didn't spend time with these people. But having said that, I'm glad we did interact with them the way that we did, with the time that we had and with the information we had at the time. And we evolved and we adapted as we moved forward in a way that was more in alignment with what I wanted to do and what everyone else on the crew wanted to do.
Yeah.
So how did I feel at that time, though? I can't stop. I got to keep moving. I can't stop, because if I stop, man, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
That's
Because
kinda
I
what I was
remember around like 6 p.m, we still had like 50K or something like that to go some crazy distance.
Yeah.
And you said to me like, dude, I can't stop. Like, there was a person who came and you just like shook their hand and said, talk to the crew. I'm going. And that was also like, yeah, you're running on fumes, barely any sleep. And as we move over to dinner, we had like a quick dinner. We still had like 40K to go, and it was like 9 o'clock at night. And I remember you telling me, yeah, this is kind of fucked. Like, this is not what we expected. So fast forward, sunset, it's getting late, closer to midnight. We still had like 25K to go. At this point, you'd been awake from like 3 o'clock the previous morning. You barely slept. We kicked off at 6. You've been on your feet. It's midnight. What's going on in that moment, especially on day one?
I was just thinking about moving. I wasn't thinking about anything other than getting to Nanaimo. That's all I was thinking about. I was like, at that stage, I wasn't even moving in a straight line at that point. I was kind of like stumbling a little bit because of the exhaustion, like because I was tired. It wasn't so much the body was falling apart. Like, I mean, I felt what I was feeling before, and I was kind of actually surprised on how poor I was feeling because I've never felt that kind of feeling in other runs. And I've done 100K before. I've done 60. Like, I've done runs. And so for me, I was like, man, this feels different. And the only thing I can attribute that to is just the lack of, not even the lack of sleep, it's just the absorption or the
Emotional
load of everything. A lot of, because look, it wasn't just running. I was trying to lead something too, the best I could, like a crew, a team. I didn't know everyone very, very well. I knew a couple people well enough. And Jared was one of them. I known him for a few years, so I knew him well. And so didn't really worry about him, but there's others, like just everybody. Didn't there was an element of make sure that everything was moving in the right direction.
It was the first day we all came together, effectively strangers, and this is what we were thrown into.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, trial by fire, man.
Yeah, 18-hour day. It was.
Yeah.
I remember you said you were stumbling, and we were sitting behind. We were in the RV behind you. Turned the lights on, and Jared navigated the RV in a way to protect you, essentially, just in case, like, because you were stumbling. You were just like, you looked like you were drunk.
Yeah.
On the road.
I think someone said that to me actually when I came back into the RV.
Yeah.
I think maybe was it Cullum or something. Anyway, someone said.
Yeah, you looked like you were drunk going down the road. But that was the first time that I think all of us saw that you were just not going to quit. Like we said that in the previous episode, you were willing to die on this hill. You demonstrated that day that you were willing to die on this hill. It was around 3 a.m. that we wrapped up that 100K that day. A couple of us stayed at a hotel. We were... and then you just crashed in the RV. That night, when you hit that first 100K, what went through your mind before you went to sleep?
Man, I gotta do this again tomorrow.
In 3 hours or 4 hours?
Yeah, I was like, fuck, man. And listen, I made a commitment to myself. I'm not gonna swear on this podcast, but I gotta illustrate. Man, I was like, what the heck, man? I gotta do this again tomorrow. And then but I didn't want to give it too much energy.
Yeah.
Didn't want to give it too much power, but I did say that to myself. Oh man, I gotta do this again tomorrow. And then I just said, you know what, forget it, whatever, shut it down, do what I need to do. Let's get to bed, and then we'll wake up and we'll figure it out.
We'll wake up and we'll figure it out.
That's my motto, man. That's kind of how I function, man. It's like, you know, I'm stubborn, and I don't want to quit. And for me, the goal was to raise funds and awareness, and that was the mission. So, you know, we're going to figure it out. From a crew perspective, I was still trying to pay attention. I didn't know Cullum, right? I didn't know how Kat would function in that environment. I didn't know how you would be. The one kind of constant for me was Jared, because I've known him for 3 years, and so I didn't really have to worry from that perspective. And he did a great job, man. Like, he did take some load off of my mind. So from a crew perspective, I was still kind of figuring things out.
Yeah.
Right. And you know, when I really started feeling comfortable, it took some time.
Yeah. Because at this point, it's not just about the running. It's about the people who are on the team. It's about all the people who are just suddenly coming to us. So there was a lot that day. And I think that kind of set the foundation to be like, holy fuck, like this is gonna be this is really gonna be a long run.
Man, it was like a lot to consider that I maybe didn't consider enough before.
Yeah.
But I did the best with what I had, man, and I needed to get that run started. The people who showed up were the people who showed up.
Yeah.
And that's not a negative. They all believed, and they all did more than I expected. Everyone did more than I ever expected. And so for me, it was just, I had to have faith.
Exactly.
I had to have faith. I couldn't manage everything. And so that was a mental drain for the first bit. But I eventually got to a place where I was like, okay, well, they'll figure it out. Let me do what I need to do. That was it.
Yeah. And so, yeah, that was the end of day one. That set the tone for what was going to be the most brutal fucking week of the run. It was that first week was not pleasant. We were not sailing through. We were stumbling through every single day. Yeah. But that's where we're going to end today's episode, where we got off in Nanaimo. And tomorrow's episode, or the next episode, is going to be our journey through Vancouver. Yeah. Into Langley.
Yeah.
Which was another doozy on its own.
Listen, man, doozy after doozy. We're going to share some of those things with you guys, but it's not to, we're going to share all those things because I think if anyone wants to do something like this, just understand what you're getting into, and things will come up, challenges will present themselves. question is, how committed are you to the thing that you're doing, to figure out solutions to make sure that you keep moving forward? And we exemplified that because the first week, 2 weeks were a gong show. It was an absolute gong show. Like, we had no business like making it as far as we did, but we did. Yeah. So that's the lesson. And hopefully you guys can pay attention to that for next week. It's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, excited to share our journey from Vancouver, Langley, and beyond. So that was episode 3 of The Long Run.
Nice, man.
All right.
Hopefully we're dialing this in well enough. I think we are. We're getting there. We're getting there.
It's like the run.
Yeah. Give us a few more months. You guys, by the time we're done, we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. We're dialing it in.
Yeah. So today we talked about the start for the 100 kilometers in Victoria, the impacts that we had, and some of the experiences that we felt and that I felt. So I appreciate you guys coming out. I appreciate you guys joining, subscribing, liking, sharing. And please give us some comments.